This is your supplemental update type show. That sound good to you? All right. So on that note, if we can get our first guest to request the box, she goes by Dollface. Dollface, if you'd be so kind to request the box, I'm going to give a little primer as to what happens on this show. Because you may be curious, you're like, why does this guy have his dad's tie on in his mom's basement? Well, let me explain to you. The reason is because each and every week we bring on up and comers, people who have a worthwhile story to share. We do 3 of them at a time, each and every week, so that you can favorite them and find out things that you may not know. And who knows, maybe you could be on a future show. And if you're interested in being interviewed, if you want people to know your story, maybe you have an interesting background, or you own something really special, or you've had a unique adventure, or been on a journey, this is the place to share it, because I'm going to dig into those details, and you can reveal all that you want to reveal in front of the entire live universe. All right, so on that note, we have Dollface. One last message before we get Dollface in the box. You may notice that during these conversations, I'm not acknowledging the comments, and I'm not doing a very good job at being an appreciative streamer. Now, I look and sound kind of ungrateful, which is not the season. It's the Thanksgiving season. That's the time of the year to be aware of those things, to give special notice. But during this show, we get into some personal conversations. Sometimes like whether people think a tomato is a fruit or not. And they may tell you that it is a vegetable. And I'm not going to interrupt them for the one to say thank you for the jet or the turkey or whatever it is. So on that note, we have our first guest come in the box. She is someone that'll put a smile on your face because she is the one. She is the only Dollface. How you doing, Dollface?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. It's a Wednesday. Over here in the States, we have a national holiday tomorrow. It's called Thanksgiving. Indigenous Peoples Day is what it may be referred to now by some. But so we're giving thanks, and in that spirit, though, we're thankful to have you here. Do you have any holidays or things that are coming up that you're looking forward to?
Obviously Christmas. Big season
Good.
for us. Obviously giving, and obviously Jesus was born as well. So yeah, just big over here for Christmas.
Absolutely. Yeah. I act like the UK is a completely different world. The Christmas thing. Tell us more about the Christmas. No. Uh, let's find out some of those differences, though. Do you have a tradition in your family that you do for Christmas or for the holidays?
I mean, it changes every year, to be fair, in my family. But since I've had like my daughter and things, I very much like to have a Christmas Eve, which is very special, where we get into his
Mhm.
comfy, get into his pajamas, do lots of games and things, and I'll do like a Christmas Eve box, which she gets to open up, and she has like like a present before Christmas kind of thing. And we have a like a
Oh,
like
that's special. I happen to know someone else who has a yearly tradition of opening one present before Christmas, which I'm very grateful that I'm able to have that in common with you. But you have a little one, so this is something that you were pretty forward about. You talk about single mom life. How would you say that you find the time and the flexibility to be such a consistent streamer? Because if you're on the radar of being here, that means you're doing some things that are right. So how do you find the time?
So basically, my daughter goes to bed, kind of like a strict routine, to be fair. She's only 4, so she goes to bed about 7:30 UK time. And then basically, I get myself ready for my streams where I get dressed up in fancy dress. And then basically, I stream at 10 o'clock, which is UK time, which is 5 o'clock Eastern
Sure.
Standard.
Yeah, yeah. And having a little one too, and having to get dressed up and things like that. I know that my parents, when they wanted to keep me busy, they'd put on Godzilla because there was nothing like putting on Godzilla or the Power Rangers. I was distracted. Now, for your little one, and I have a little hint here. Is she having any interest in Disney or the princesses, anything like that? She like
Yeah,
that?
she's my little princess, to be fair. I do get some of my ideas from her. She's got such a good imagination. Yeah, so some of my
Perfect.
streams, obviously I get dressed up in fancy dress. Sometimes it's a Disney princess, sometimes I've been like Harley Quinn. Sometimes I've been a Joker, a Jester, all these different ideas
Sure.
and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of out there, but it's basically whoever is the top gifter, they get to pick the next outfit for the next stream.
Well, I want to expand on that a little bit because you are a Disney partner, is it performer, partner, entertainer?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, basically,
What's the correct title there?
so Disney Princess Party Host slash entertainer.
That's a
Yeah,
long LinkedIn title. You gotta consolidate that. The LinkedIn, that's too many characters. I don't know if you can put that all in there.
yeah,
So you're a Disney party entertainer.
yeah.
What's your favorite princess or character to dress up as?
Jasmine, Princess Jasmine, definitely.
Jasmine. Which princess is that?
Aladdin.
Aladdin. So do you
Yeah.
sing as well?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I sing on my streams. I basically
What?
create a different show for my stream. So whoever the character is, it's all based around that character for my performance.
That's really special. That's very cool. So, have you been a lifelong Disney fanatic, or did you stumble upon that you have a passion for costume and cosplay and you like to sing, and it just so happens there's a conglomerate that has just the position for you? Were
Um,
you a lifelong Disney fan?
I mean, I've always been a Disney fan. I mean, I can't imagine not loving Disney. Literally, like from a kid to a grown up, I don't see like why you couldn't like it. It's got the animation for the kid, and it's got the sense of humor for an adult in there. So it's an all rounder. But yeah, I've loved it ever since I was a child, and then I've performed basically ever since being really little. I've been on stage since I was 5, and I've got a degree in it as
Wow.
well.
Well, if you're just now joining, by the way, we're currently with Dollface. She's a Disney performer. She's hustling in the live stream streets and she's doing the thing. If you've not hit the favorite button on her, make sure that you're hitting the favorite button. We may even be graced with a performance later. I cannot confirm or deny it. Can I confirm or deny it? But make sure you're hitting the favorite button on Dollface. This is Suit Up every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Okay, so Dollface, on that note, what would you say is your favorite Disney whatever? It could be a princess, it could be a movie. Do you have like a top, this is my favorite Disney anything?
So I would say I love Untangled, where it's the boat scene and there's like the lanterns. I think it's so romantic. I just think it's
Ooh.
really out there. Yeah, it's my favorite one.
So a little soft spot for the romance. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, what lady
Well, I
doesn't like
know
romance?
that. Well, I've watched The Bachelor once or twice. I've been there. I actually I watched Love on the Spectrum as well. I watched both the UK, or it was the international and the US edition. I really liked that.
You've been taking
It
down
even
notes,
got me
Chris.
to. What was that? One more time.
I said, so you've been taking down notes, Rick. You've been taking down
You
notes.
know, I'm not doing too well. I'm not doing too well. But I know that you were trying to do well because you originally downloaded Plenty of Fish and you were looking to date. So walk us through the mindset of Dollface on the dating scene. What was she looking for? Who was her Prince Charming? Her Prince Frog? I don't know any other princes from the Disney, but those two, those two have to be good. What were
I
you looking for?
I mean, obviously, your typical tall, dark, handsome, funny. Obviously, I have a daughter, so I've got to be good with kids.
Okay.
Yeah, ticking all the boxes, obviously.
That's
But
those
yeah,
are some important boxes.
yeah.
Now you said one of these, which is going to be a hot for debate. Okay, and before I bring up this controversial topic, make sure you're hitting the favorite button on Dollface because we still have two more guests. You don't want to miss any Dollface later. She might be live. So you want to hit the favorite button on her. This is Suit Up. We do this interview style show every Wednesday at 9. All right. So you said first word, looking for someone who is tall. What's the height minimum, Dollface, in the dating scene? Because this is a hot topic among the guys and gals out there. What's the minimum dating height for Dollface?
For me, 5'8". That's the minimum.
All right,
'Cause
Kings out there, you 5'8", you are officially tall. Dollface confirms. And if you're above 5'8", yo, you're a giant. You're king of the world. So the minimum, you're just looking for someone who's 5'8".
Yeah, basically anyone taller than me is fine.
Okay, perfect. How tall are you?
I'm 5'6".
You're 5'6". We're gonna get you someone 5'7". We'll put them in some stilettos or something, just to be sure. They'll be fine. They'll clink around. It'll be good. It'll be good. All right. So Dollface, other than taking care of your little one and doing Disney, I know that you keep very, very busy outside of your live streaming, including caring for others. You have some experience in first aid. What is your experience in first aid?
So I am a first aider. I'm a trained first aider. But it all started basically. I was walking through the town centre, and a man literally just collapsed in front of me. And instinct literally just took in. I knew exactly what to do. And like obviously I phoned for the ambulance and things like that. And my nanan, who was actually stood next to me, she looked after my daughter, and instantly afterwards she was like, "Oh, would you mind being the first aider for here, here, and here?" Obviously, I'm not going to say where.
Wow.
And yeah, literally just since then, like I've been the first aider. So
You saved someone's life in public?
yep.
Were they choking on like some spaghetti? What was the situation? I mean, this is serious business. What happened
Yeah,
that you interjected yourself?
yeah. Basically, I mean, I've always been a caring person anyway. But what had happened was he'd not long since come out of hospital. He'd basically had surgery on his head. And basically he'd come out with all this medication, and then basically just collapsed.
Wow.
So
And had you had any prior training or experience before you leapt to this person's aid?
no, no training
Were
whatsoever.
there other people standing around watching?
I was actually quite surprised. A lot of people just walked past. But yeah, I was just literally, I went into instinct, and then just told literally like a stranger. I was like, right, go and get the first aider from like this department over there. You phone the ambulance. You do go get their defibrillator just in case we need it, and etc. Just yeah, it just happened from there.
Miss Dollface, you sound like a natural leader and also someone who did not think of the potential liability. But hey, you saved somebody, which is important. Being someone who's not gone through any medical training, you're like, I got this. I'm going to save this guy's life. That is very brave and dangerous. But now you're a certified first aider, which is, I think that's some UK terminology. So you're a certified first aider. And what does that entail? Do you have to now, like, are you part of a certain club, or what is that association?
No, there's no club. Basically, you go, you do your training, you get your certificate, and it's like basically valid for so long. So basically, if something happens, so obviously I'm a first aider for a specific place, but basically,
Sure.
it does mean that because I am a first aider, if something happens out in the public, I am also able to do it there as well, and then nothing really comes back on myself. Constantly always carry around my first aider kit in the car. I've got one in the house, literally.
Now, did they yell at you when they found out you had already performed first aider responsibilities before you were certified? Were they like, no?
No, literally, I was on the phone to the ambulance person, and she had already said to me, "Have you done this?" I said, "Yes." "Have you done this?" "Yes." "Have you done this?" "Yes." "Right, you've done everything correct. First aider, the ambulance is on the way, etc." They just said keep him stable for now, because obviously I got him back breathing. And then the ambulance person came and they said if you hadn't have been there, he'd have died.
What a gift. Wow. And that is incredible. Make sure you're hitting the favorite button on Dollface as we're hitting towards the sunset of this first conversation together. That's honestly one of the first times I can recall on this show, someone talking about saving someone's life. Are you still in contact with that person? Did you hear anything from them after the events?
No, I didn't keep in contact. Obviously, I didn't know the person or anything. But yeah,
Right.
obviously it was all it was the ambulance person phoned me back afterwards and said obviously that they've now got in stable. And yeah, they're just really thankful that I was there. So.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure they were singing for joy. And talking about singing too, I'm assuming that that's the role that you play because you're also musically inclined, not just as a vocalist, but you're in a band.
I am, yes. So I sing in a band every Sunday. We have band practice literally in the morning, and then I sing on a Sunday evening.
Wow, what kind of band are you in? Is it like a thrash metal? Are you out there just laying down the sickest gutturals and
We do
lows? Just
things really. We do literally so many different songs. We kind of just like have a mix. So we all kind of like pick a couple of different songs that we all want to perform. And we've actually performed in different like nightclubs and things like that as well. So
what's the name of your band? If people are gonna check it out, they gotta know what to look for.
Sorry, say that again.
What is the name of your band? People need to know what to look out for.
Oh, it's called Influence.
Influence. That's cool. It's trendy. I hear influencer is a very popular occupation these days. But Dollface, before we one more time.
I said we're all trying to influence in a good way on here, aren't we?
I can back that. I think that's a great sentiment. So before we go, do you think that we could get blessed with a little song or doodle? Maybe a little song. Would you like to prepare? Maybe come back after the next guest and perform?
Sure. Yeah, can do. Yeah.
Excellent. So make sure you stay tuned. Hit the favorite on Dollface. We're going to talk with Pharaoh next, and later, Coco Lady. Dollface, I'll ask you to request the box in just a bit. We can get blessed up with a song. If that sounds good to you.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much for having me.
Excellent. We'll see you in a little bit here. We've got Dollface. She's going to be performing later. We still got Pharaoh Kane coming up to the box. Dollface, thank you for being here. We've got Pharaoh coming to the box. So, on that note, welcome to Suit It Up. My name's Chris Casper. It's so great to be with you. This is a show that we do each and every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have up-and-comers, people who are new to the platform, veterans of the platform. Whether or not you have met them, you may have just stumbled upon one of your favorite streamers without even realizing it. So make sure you stay tuned until the end. We have a lot of great content, more guests, and a special song performance by our first guest. Pharaoh Kane is up next. We also have Coco Lady Love up on deck. But before we introduce Pharaoh, if you'd be so kind to request the box, let's talk about these top gifters so far this evening. It's not necessary to gift this stream, but it is always appreciated. So I got to give a special shout out to Sassy Susan. Special shout out to her. To Pharaoh Kane. To 820 MW Weezy. To Logan. Truly, DJ NorCal, Cuddle Me Voxton, to Tamara, who I got her name right. She's only been my friend for like 4 years. Krabby, and in the first place spot with that #1, we got Double L, the Coco Lady Love, in the #1 spot. Thank you so much for all your generosity. On that note, Pharaoh Kane, who's requested the box, please do keep in mind that during these conversations, we do sometimes get into some sensitive topics. And because of that, we don't acknowledge the comments. We don't acknowledge the gifts. This is Suited Up every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Time? I don't know. Come correct like the Pharaoh, Mr. Pharaoh Kane. Suited Up.
Yo, Chris, thank you for having me, man.
Appreciate you. It's been a minute in the making. I had a strong referral for you, my friend. So that's exciting. I'm excited to talk with you. You've made some serious progress in a short amount of time. I know that you're a Black VIP. You've earned over 25 million diamonds, and you've only been streaming for a little bit. Correct me if I'm wrong. Has it just been a couple months?
I came back in April, but I took a really big break off that. Yeah. So that was kind of me.
So would you say that most of this progress has happened in the past few months?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. And is there a specific goal, something that you have in mind of why you're grinding so hard or why you're being so intentional with your streaming?
If we're going to be honest, it came out of nowhere. You know, I had no idea that that amount of support was going to come through, but I was doing the same amount of things I was doing before. I was just streaming. Like, I actually streamed more before. It came out of nowhere. It's, you know, like your stream is pretty much run by other people, not run by them, but yeah, it's about them. That's pretty much it. It goes, it runs. That makes sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense. I think that when we find a community or find people around us who want to support what we do, or they reciprocate conversation, that is something that we want to cling to. So yeah, that's a great sentiment there. So Mr. Pharaoh King, we got to know, how did you get the name Pharaoh? Why did you select Pharaoh?
It used to be King Kane, and I kind of want to be more in touch with my roots a little bit, you know what I mean? So, yeah, just switch the King part. But the nickname was King Kane for a long time.
Okay, let's touch on that then. You said getting in tune touch with your roots. What's with all this touching? No, you want to stay tapped in with your roots, Pharaoh. So, are you rooted in Egyptian heritage?
Oh, no, I tell people that whenever they ask me about my name, though. I tell them that whenever they ask me that about my name. But no, not at all.
You just set me up. You set me up. You're like,
no, I just
I'm like, okay, clearly, right?
Awkward. It's all good.
No, you set me up. What does that mean?
Not at all.
No,
it's like the verses.
I'm calling foul. I'm calling foul on that. All right. So I know you do a little moving around though. So you're originally from New York. How long did you live in New York for?
25 years. I moved out here.
25 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Almost my whole life I was out there.
As far as New York goes, were you in the city or were you kind of more on the outskirts of it?
Oh, in Queens? Majority of the time was in Queens area, you know? Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, everything's pretty close.
Yeah.
What do you think of the city? Did you like that lifestyle of having so much to do, so many people around you?
I did, because I like things moving fast. When things slow down, I like it over there. I'm more used to that kind of pace of life. But Georgia's been a lot slower. You know what I mean? Everything you have to do is compressed. Pardon me, I'm a little nervous right now. My bad.
Nah, dude. I'll walk you through it. I do this each and every week, and I'm gonna look the biggest. I promise you that. We do this every week. So here, let's slow it down a little bit then. What caused the move? What did you do, or what was going on in life that you said, I'm in New York, but I gotta go to Georgia? Completely different type of style of living.
It's just me and my son. So I had came out here for a visit, and I realized that I could make it work. And, you know, like, you stayed out here a little bit longer, and I was like, you know, I could live here. And yeah, it was random.
Wow.
It was necessary.
So you did the move for your son?
Beg your pardon?
I said, did you say you did the move for your son then?
Yeah.
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 And what was it about the relocation that you felt was going to be beneficial, or what did you feel like would enhance or be better for him to not be in New York versus Georgia?
I know how I grew up, and I had to grow up entirely too fast. I had him when I was 17, so it kind of, you know, I don't want him to be the same way. And it's been the right move so far, so I can't complain.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a pretty casual detail you just dropped. And before we dig too far into it, make sure you're hitting the favorite, Mr. Pharaoh King. He's our second guest this evening. So you dropped a pretty big bombshell that you had a child at 17, which I'll go on a limb here. I'm going to guess that you weren't quite prepared for that. It's
Not at all, man.
Not just a little bit. But what would you say is the age difference then, or I guess how well do you relate to your son? Because I'm gonna guess they're a little bit older now.
Yeah, he's 14 now, and yeah, he's in high school. He's a great kid. He's a great kid. He was a valedictorian a few months ago. He's excelling. He's doing really well out here. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent about my kid.
No,
Yeah, he's
do
14.
it. That's the right mindset. Don't worry about having the right thing to talk about.
Oh yeah,
We're
I
gonna
just
find that.
I feel rigid right now. So
No,
but yeah,
this is
he's pretty much motivation for everything.
this is the potatoes, the meat and the potatoes. This is the sauce of what you have outside of the platform and what you're passionate about. And obviously you should be, because it's something that's very important. And you have a lot to be very proud of. Those achievements in school aren't something easy. They have to have the right type of place to come home to in order to foster that type of grade and GPA. So that's really special that you're providing that type of environment. So jumping back over to the age thing, to get a little transparent, my mom and I are somewhat close in age as well. And I consider it to be a very fortunate thing, because I've been able to have a very close relationship with her and my dad. I think I'm very lucky, because many kids are born later into their parents' lives. Do you feel like you are getting that type of experience too with your son, where because you two are closer in age than most parents might be, that you're getting to have a different type of experience?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a huge difference with my mother's age and mine, and I definitely see the difference. I try not to be I know how it is as a kid. You can still remember. It's still somewhat relatable, like those highs and lows and stuff like that. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, I think it makes a huge difference, because by the time I'm 34, he's going to be 17, the same age I had him, and he better not make me a grandfather, man. Not at that age. Ooh, but he seems to be going down a different route completely. So I think a lot of that has to do with me knowing. Thank you. Sorry.
You just hit the next talking point on the head, which is that you said he's almost 17, which is the age that you had him. That has to, in some ways, just make your life come full circle in some ways. Do you feel like you're handling that well? Have you given that some thought of wow?
I don't handle it well. I don't. I don't. I absolutely. Every day I overthink about that. I look at him too. I'm just like, oh, this kid's 6'2". He's in the ROTC, so he's building some muscle. I'm just like, oh God, behave, kid.
Yeah.
You know how easy it is as a young man to get deterred. Just yeah.
Well, that
stress me.
It sounds like he's got a good head on his shoulders, though. So when you're not streaming, obviously a lot of time is allocated to family, and you're doing an awesome job of it. But I know that you've been taking on a new adventure. And before we spoil what that new adventure is, make sure that you're hitting the favorite button on Pharaoh King. This is Suit Up. It's an interview style show that we do each and every Wednesday at 9 p.m. We've got one more guest, Coco Ladylove, as well as a musical performance by Dollface. You don't want to miss any of that. All right, so back to you, Mr. Pharaoh King. I said that you've been on a new adventure recently. You've been taking on the path of learning something technological. What is that? What is it that you've been up to?
So just the beginning steps of coding and stuff like that. Obviously, that's pretty much the future. And yeah, I want to learn it so I could pass it on, teach it to him too, and just let those roots grow there too. You got it?
Yeah. So coding's not just something that you can snap your fingers and get it. It's literally another language. It's called coding language. What got you interested in learning coding?
Hypertext markup link something, yeah. And okay, so there were times where I see the EverCode and stuff like that, and I don't know, you just get a little curious and you look it up, and then yeah, the more you look things up, the more you Google things, the more you kind of want to know things, Yeah.
Does that
make sense?
Was it just that did you feel kind of stuck? And did you feel a little stuck in your career, and you're saying, hey, I want to find something new to take on, or I'm looking for a new challenge? I mean, that's a very ambitious thing to begin learning, because there's a lot to it. So I'm trying to peel back and figure out what's that motivation behind taking on such a big challenge.
I am ridiculously spontaneous, and yeah, I see it everywhere. It's almost like you see cars everywhere. It's a good job to get into mechanics, and it's smart. I think coding is smart to get into. And yeah, just a little bit more curiosity made me dive a little bit more into it. I still have a lot more to learn, but yeah, that's it for the most part.
Do you think do you think that you may end up wanting to go back to school for something like that, or you being purely self-taught?
Oh, this one, I'm just going through certain things online, like certain courses online and stuff, little light stuff. If I went back to school, it'll be for marine biology, I think. Random, but yeah.
Marine biology. that is very different than what you're doing. Why marine biology?
Oh, I just always like the whole aquatic life thing. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Specifically, dolphins or manatees, saltwater, freshwater. I happen to be a little fishophile myself, so you can talk fishing to me.
I actually, okay, you see how there's a huge percentage of the water that's undiscovered. I want to know more about that. There's a whole bunch of medicines that they find in these fishes or algae and things like underwater, and we have no idea. We know nothing. Mermaids. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot under there that we don't know. And yeah, I'm just curious, man. I'm very curious.
Who knows? Maybe Mrs. Right for somebody out there happens to be a mermaid. At this point, I might have to check out that option. I don't know. You also have another venture that you've been into, though, is a little bit of finance. You've been looking at stocks. When did this stem from, and what about stocks?
This is recent. This is recent, and I'm watching. I've been watching it for a while, and I'm learning more about that as well. But yeah, that's kind of my next set of lessons to go through, you know. But that's been what I'm focused on now.
I think every kid wants their dad to be a superhero, and your son's dad's gonna be a marine biology coding stock trader. You're checking off all these boxes, man. Very ambitious.
Absolutely. None of those I would ever try to pursue like professionally. You know what I mean? Like stocks, definitely everyone should know that. But yeah, none of those I would ever like really. Yeah, coding. I want to know how to code. That's important. I want to know a little bit about everything. But those are the ones that have my interest right now.
Yeah. So, in terms of the future, then,
yeah,
what do you hope to achieve doing all these things? Because you're taking on so many new tasks. What's it ultimately for? What do you want?
If we're gonna be completely honest, still trying to find my way. So that's why I extend so many tendrils until I find something that really I could click with. Yeah. You know, when you're still trying to figure a lot of it out. Yeah. But right now, I'm still. Yeah, I want to learn these things. These things are crucial right now for me, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not
it can be a difficult. It can be a difficult road to come to acceptance that we are trying to figure out what we want, or that we're not happy being stuck. Do you feel like that was a tough road for you? Did you experience any obstacles along the way to this point where you're saying, yeah, I want to learn new things and I want to carve out something for myself?
Absolutely. It's I'm watching him get older. I'm watching my mother get older. Like, of course, there's almost a sense of urgency to figure things out, you know? And
sure.
Yeah, you know how that goes. you understand. And yeah, that kind of forces
you're casually touching on something extremely profound. You're saying that I'm recognizing mortality, and I want to make sure that I have something to leave behind, and I want to make sure I do something with the time that I have. That's not just you know how it is. I mean, you're touching on something pretty tough, man, and you should be proud that you're able to get to that conclusion, at least now.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I definitely do. But of course, we're still learning. You know how this goes. I'm saying that as a default, but I feel like a lot of people do know how that goes.
Yeah, I believe that many people who use streaming platforms, you know what, not even just limited to these platforms. I believe that people in life all have something that they're working on or believe that they need to work on. But setting in emotion's a different story. It's one thing to recognize it, it's a different thing to act on it. So on that note, I need people to act on favoriting you right now. Mr. Pharaoh Kane, he's our second guest. We still have Dollface coming up to perform, as well as Coco Lady. You don't want to miss any of that. Pharaoh, do you have anything coming up that, with the time that we still have left, that you'd like to talk about? Something that's important to you or that you'd like to plug?
No, not at all. I'm just kind of coasting for now. You know what I mean? No real set goals or anything. I'm just here. I try to avoid those auctions and stuff like that, you know, auctions and battles. But
okay.
But yeah, Thank you for having me.
Because
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's great talking to you. I gotta know though, why do you like to avoid the auctions and battles?
Unpopular opinion. I think it puts a lot of stress on your people. You know what I mean? Pardon me, sorry. I think it puts a lot of stress on them because now they feel obligated. If they mess with you, they now feel obligated to like spread themselves thin. We got outside lives to take care of. A lot of us run on this app like we rich. No, man. No. So I'm not trying to do all that, you know? And I'm not trying to do it to them.
All right, understood. He doesn't do it for the people. I love it, man. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Well, hey, that's Pharoah Kane. Any last things you'd like to say before you go?
No, that was it. Part of my nervousness, but thank you very much for having me here regardless and being supportive, you guys. I see it. I've seen everything. Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris. I'll definitely
What were we gonna say? Hopefully.
But I said I'll be around, definitely. I didn't mean to cut you off, sorry.
No, it's the internet thing. I think I've got a delay today because I noticed with Dollface I was cutting in and out over her as well. So thank you for your patience. But make sure you're hitting the favorite button of Mr. Pharoah Kane. He's our second guest this evening. He's a gentle guy. He's doing a lot of great things. Make sure you stay up to date with his journey, whether he's coding, swimming with the fishes, or learning how to trade some stocks. There he goes, Mr. Pharoah Kane, second guest. This is Suited Up, show that's every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name's Chris Casper. It's an honor to be with you each and every Wednesday. I've been doing this streaming thing for almost 4 years of Top Batch, come December 14th. So stay tuned. We're getting some plans together. Ari doesn't know this, but now she does. For Suited Up, we're going to do an anniversary show for the 4 years with the badge. I know some of you may not know this, that I started off as a streamer. September 20th, 2018 was my first stream. So I've been doing this over 4 years, but almost 4 years with the badge. So it's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey, and I can't thank you enough for helping to make it as special as it has been. Coco Lady, if you'll please request the box. Pharoah Kane, we just had in the box. Dollface, if you will request the box, we've got a musical performance by Dollface, as well as a final interview with Coco Lady, who has a surprising fact that I've never seen before, and you do not want to miss this. I cannot wrap my head around, but I can at the same time wrap my head around it, and I got to know the story behind it. So make sure you stay tuned, because Coco Lady is doing a little bit of a tell-all. She's like, Chris, what are you talking about? What in the world are you? Just trust me, I'm playing it up. All right, we've also got Dollface coming on the scene. But before any of that, a shout out to our top 10 gifters so far this evening. We have Madly Curious, Shishin Phipps, Logan, Tamara, Truly, DJ NorCal. We have our guy, the one and only Voxton, good listener, Krabby. And lastly, our third guest, Coco Lady Love, Black VIP, double LL Coco in that #1 spot. Thank you for all that generosity. Hey, here we go. Our performer for this evening. She was our first interview. Now she's going to melt your face. She's Dollface with her great vocals. Whoa! Check you out. You even did a whole transition.
I just quickly shoved it on, obviously.
Just quickly, right? So, are you Jasmine? Is that Jasmine from Aladdin?
It is Jasmine. Yes.
And if I had to place a guess, then I'm gonna imagine you might be performing a song from Aladdin.
I am. Yes.
Well, do you need any more time? Are you ready? Is the intro over?
Yeah. No, I'm ready. If you're ready.
I'm ready. Hit the favorite button on Dollface. She's about to sing for us. The floor is yours. It's Suited Up.
A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. But when I'm way up here, it's crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with you. Unbelievable sight. 100,000 things to see. I'm like a shooting star that comes so far. I can't go back to where I used to be. Every turn a surprise, every moment red letter. I'll chase them anywhere. It's time to spare. Let me share this whole new world with you. A whole new world. That's where we'll be. A wondrous place for you and me.
Nice job. Thanks for putting in the outfit for that. That was good. That was great.
Thank you so much for
So,
having me.
Dollface, before you go, I'm gonna throw you one last question. In honor of tomorrow being Thanksgiving / Indigenous Peoples Day, I'd like to know something that you were thankful for. We talked about a lot of things that you were thankful for, but is there anything else that comes to mind, or maybe you'd like to elaborate just a little bit more on that you're thankful for?
I'm so thankful for my family, for my daughter, and the opportunities that I had growing up. Just going to like performing arts college as well. Like I had so many opportunities. So not just singing, dancing and acting, I also was able to do like circus skills. So I'm actually a fire breather as well. So I go out and do performances where I fire breathe and do like the staffs with the fire as well. So yeah, I just feel like I've had so many different opportunities that I'm just very thankful for.
Wow, we didn't even touch on the fact that you breathe fires. That's crazy. That is so cool. That's a conversation for another time, I guess. Dollface, thank you so much for being here again and for giving us that great performance.
Can I also just say a massive thank you to everybody that supports me as well, and a big shout out to Krabby, because basically from the moment I first started this app, he's just been absolutely amazing. A massive tutor to anybody that is first starting out. Just yeah, thank you so much, and thank you, Chris, for inviting me to the show.
Absolutely. Hey, appreciate you being here. Thank you for coming. I know it's late. It's like 2, almost 3 a.m. for you, so get some sleep. All right, we'll talk to you soon. That's Dollface. Hit the favorite button on her. Much love, much love. All right, on that note, we have our third and final guest this evening. She goes by Coco Lady. She's that double L. Miss Coco. How you doing?
Chris, it doesn't feel real. I'm excited just to be on the show. I appreciate you for having me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it is very real, and I'm very excited to talk with you. Because while I was doing my primer notes and going over some stuff, I saw some zingers. I was like, whoa. We got some topics to talk about tonight. So okay. I hope you're ready for a conversation. That sound good?
Yes, I hope I'm ready too.
You wrote it. So I'm just gonna play into what I've got. So I just something first I want to lead off with is you gave specifically the city that you're from. Now before I ask questions about it, is it okay to go into detail about the city that you're from?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you're from Baltimore, Maryland, and I visited Bethesda, Maryland, quite a few times this year. Have you been to Bethesda before?
I've heard of it, but when you're from Baltimore, you kind of only stay in Baltimore. Like people don't usually leave, so the fact that I did is a big deal. My family I've been gone for 5 years and they still drive me crazy about it. But yeah, people just kind of just stay.
Well, here's the question, because I'm not trying to make it about me. There was actually a lead-up question. Is one of my biggest regrets after visiting Maryland twice, something I didn't do was get crab. I know the whole inhale.
I gotta put my glasses back on for this because I gotta see. Because wait, why? My birthmark is a crab. Like my birthmark one way is a crab, and the other way is a cow. Because I love dairy and I love crabs. I was born to
You-
love dairy and crabs.
You,
I was a little
you have
ashy,
a
y'all. Don't
birthmark.
mind me.
You have a birthmark in the shape of a crab and a cow.
Yeah, when we just kind of got ready. So when I'm not so ashy, I'll show again. I just realized I was a little.
Just spit on it. Yeah, you're good.
A little rough, a little rough.
I did not know I could ever get away with that sentence on a featured show. Listen, the other thing I gotta ask you is, are you a Taurus or are you a Cancer? Are you either of those?
I'm a Taurus. I am May the 13th.
Woo! That's perfect. So you got the cow, which is kind of like is a Taurus like a bull, kind of like which is pretty close to a cow. So we can say that your birthmark is actually your zodiac sign.
Yeah, it's actually, it does, you know what? Because it has horns. So that's the reason that it's a crab one way. And then, so it's not a cow. So it's a bull. But you know what? I love cheese and dairy. So I just felt like it was because it was a cow. My whole life.
If you need some bull milk, that's a different story. Make sure you're hitting the favorite button on Coco, by the way. She is our third and final guest this evening. We're just getting started this conversation. She was actually born inscribed with her zodiac sign. It's incredible. She's one of the zodiac warriors, if you've ever seen Jackie Chan's Adventures, which was a cartoon in the 90s. All right, anyway, we're getting way off track. Okay, I gotta just lead off here because I think it's going to take up a large section of our conversation today, and I don't think there's any more graceful way to lean into it than talking about being born. So you're blessed. Let me get this straight. You're blessed with not just one mom, not just two moms. How many moms are you blessed with?
I'm blessed with 4.
4 moms.
Yes.
Now, Coco, how? Look, because I'm not familiar with that dynamic. I know one mom. I know 2 moms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna say that it's a beautiful story from a nightmare. So my mother, my biological mother, when she was 26 years of age, had me. She was not looking to be a mother, had no desire to be a mother, but my father, he wanted all his children. So my father, was like, we're gonna have our baby. And I'm that baby, that love child. My father's youngest child. My father passed away December the 11th, 1989, 2 days before I turned 6 months. And then my mother had to, do it all by herself. And for someone my mother was a foster child, and she did not know how to be a mother. She didn't have that example. Her mother passed as an addict, and her grandmother passed shortly after. And just growing up in the system, you do your best. And with growing up, you gain understanding and you learn that your parents are adult children. So you do your best. And I had a really tough upbringing. I went through a lot, almost became a child of the system. But my mother, one thing about it is she raised me in the church. And growing up, faith-driven in the church and having that support system, my church family, my actual choir director, I grew very fond of, very close to. Her and her wife actually took me in when I was 10, and they gave me a home, and they made me feel like home. And I wasn't formally adopted by them, but it was just the fact that people who didn't give birth to me loved me and showed me what love looked like in a relationship, showed me what love looked like in a family. And continues to do that, have a great relationship with my biological mother, like to really like all come together. I was raised by a village. And then, when I was a teenager, I moved back with my mom, and we moved to live with my stepmom, who she was then dating. And then my stepmom came in my life at 16, and her and my mom are still best friends. And all 4 of them actually were linked together. And so they were always going to be part of my life. Like, if I could tell you, like, one of my adopted moms, she worked with my great aunt, who is my mother's uncle's mother of his son. And then also is actually related to my mother's older brother's child's mother as well. So I was going to be her regardless. She was my family, by kin, just my family before she even adopted me. And we didn't learn this until like later on family reunions and growing up. And like we had the same family. And they were always destined to be my family. And then same with my my stepmother, who is also just marvelous woman, beautiful woman. And she also was related to other parts of my family. So it's just like everything has a purpose. Everything has a plan, and everything that I've been through, although I look better than what I've been through, everything was intentional. So I feel like I'm intentional. I feel like that gives me purpose. It makes me feel purposeful.
I look better than what I've been through.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna slow us down for a second here. So for anyone tuning in right now, this is, do you prefer Double L? Do you prefer Coco? Do you prefer Lady Love?
Everybody calls me Coco. So LL is, so Lady Love is like the last name. And I am the CEO of the Lady Lovers. So the LLs is for the Lady Lovers. And I like to put it in the front because, you know, LL Coco, ladies love Coco, okay? And I love all of you. Everybody loves ladies.
I like that. Ladies love LL Cool J. That's LL Cool J. Ladies love Cool J. Yeah. But okay. So for those of you just joining, we're joined by Coco. She's our third guest. And to make sure you hit the favorite button on her to give a bit of a summary, a recap of what we just talked about. So the question was, you have more than one mom. In fact, you have 4. You consider to have 4 moms. And let me make sure that I have the details correct.
Yeah.
So you said you were born to some parents who weren't prepared. Your father had an untimely, and condolences, untimely passing.
Yeah.
Your mom was a child of the system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, what was that you said about your dad?
My father had lupus. He passed away from lupus, which is not necessarily common with men. But if you ever know why I try to support lupus, same reason why I try to support Autism Walks and Autism Speaks, because of my brother. I definitely commend anybody who's surviving it.
Wow. I happen to know quite a few streamers with lupus, and they've enriched my life and helped me understand much more about it. In fact, to take a bit of a side tangent, actually, let's hold this thought. Hold me to this side thought, though, because I got to stay focused on this part. Okay. So you were born to a family that wasn't quite ready to support, but through faith and through the church, we're able to find, was it the pastor? Was she a
minister? She was a minister.
She was a minister?
And her wife.
So yes, so her and her wife, they didn't officially adopt you. Now, did you officially live with them though, or were you consistently with them?
I was consistently with them. The systems, like so there was incidents in my past where when child, they wanted to take me out of the home to avoid the system. They said, stay with my grandmother, and then so that was a lot for her. She travels and she works and so forth like that. And so just having a village and having people to be like, okay, well, she can stay here and so forth like that. So I jumped around a lot. I didn't stay anywhere long, but I was always, my education was the most important part for everybody just agreed. I always had to get up really crazy hours to go to school. So my school was the most consistent thing in my life. Even the church helped pay for my college books and so forth like that. Like everybody always made sure that I got away to get to school. I was, in the Magnum program. So my education was what they strongly encouraged. So I'm still working on my education to this day.
That's another topic to talk about, but I have a compound question for you that's a follow-up to what we had just talked about. It's something that I had picked up. I want to get into some of the layers of the onion here. Is as you speak about the dichotomy of your family, I don't sense any resentment, animosity, any negative feelings towards really anyone.
No.
In order to, I think, carry and have that perspective, I think that you have to have the right type of environment around you to support it. What do you attribute that to? What do you feel was the foundation? And I have a guess, but it's much more valuable to hear come from you. What do you feel provided that environment or the cultivation that you were able to have this type of perspective on the difficulties that you had growing up?
I'm going to say that based off my childhood, it'll make anyone cold. It'll make you angry. It'll make you resentful. You will go through that. You will feel how you feel and have words and say, I would never come back to this family. I won't do anything. I said for a long time I wouldn't have anything to do with my biological mother based off what I went through as a child. And if you ever had the opportunity to find out more, tap in. It's you know, I'm a survivor, but what I've learned is there's peace with understanding. Forgiveness is not just for them, it's for you. It's a continuous process. It's a continuous thing. You don't just be like, hey, I forgive you, and then it's done. No, it's work. It's continuous. It's worth it because you are worth it. You don't have to hold on to it. You don't have to let it burden you because it made you, and you are exactly who you are supposed to be, purposefully, intentionally. You are everything you're supposed to be. And so don't just throw it out. Don't be like, I'm just angry and I want to be away from it. No, take it and use it and lead with love and understand, and that with understanding comes peace. And my peace is expensive. So my location always says my peace is expensive because it was.
Sure.
I invested so much and will sacrifice so much more just to have my peace and peace of mind. And so that's all I got.
So I'm gonna you'll see me start to interject over you. And it's not because I don't think what you have to say is valuable. It's because you have so much to say that is valuable. By the way, this is Suited Up. We're joined by Coco. She's our third guest this evening. You don't want to miss anything. I'm picking up some hints based off of how you speak, the enunciation, the punctuation, the inflection. Are you a wordsmith of some sorts? Do you words art to you? Do you do anything in the vein of that?
I do. I write and I do poetry. The name Coco, like I used to, when I would do poetry and tour, I would go by Coco as well.
Did you say when I used to do poetry on tour?
Yes.
So the answer was yes. When I said, hey, I'm catching some hints that based off of the way you enunciate and inflect, that you may have some experience. So you used to do poetry on tour. What was this through? Was it Young Americans?
Oh no. It wasn't even that big. No, it wasn't even that big. To be honest, it started off going to like the same reason I came to this app, to make friends. I started going to me and my best friend from high school. We started going to this open mic night, and they would strongly encourage everybody, hey, you know, hey, what would be your name in here, just in here? And I was like, Coco. Like it's like it was a name that made me feel empowered and comfortable. It made me feel like, you know, me. And so they called me Coco. And then with time, I got comfortable because I do struggle kind of a little with social anxiety. So I get a little nervous and I get a little chatty. Sorry. So I got comfortable. And then I just decided to actually perform my poems. And with that performances, I started winning competitions. And then they was like, well, you should tour with us because we are going to this venue and this venue, and we're going to go to this city and this city. And I was like, okay. And I did. And so, yeah, so I enjoyed that journey. It was in my early 20s, and, you know, just to get up and go, the excitement of it all. When you get like overwhelmed in life and writer's block, however, I've been writing lately. But and I did perform a poem, a freestyle poem, in an auction not too long ago. That was for performers and artists, and it was like sing or poetry. So we went with poetry, and then we decided to sing after because they wanted to like really enjoy the that. So we did both. But yeah. So I'm sorry if I run on. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So the funny thing is my brain is usually pew, pew, pew. But when it comes to doing this kind of thing, I'm always in the mindset of how do we steer this. So we've focused quite a bit on the foundation of what's made you you, and we know that poetry and word using words is now what helps to give you strength and what you use. What else do you keep busy with these days? Because we talked a lot about your past, who you were. Who's
Yeah.
Coco now? What are you doing off of the live platform?
Okay. Well, a lot of people. Well, okay. So I am discreet, but not, so I can just say enough for what I do. Well, one, I am working on my business. So I am an entrepreneur as well off the app. Working on my brand for my clothes and accessories. A lot of you love my accessories and the things that I include in my streams and things like that, but also just in my day-to-day, because I do meet a lot of streamers and everyone's like, oh, I love this, I love that, I love this, I love that. You're so creative. So, been working on that for some time. This year I've been really sticking to, my goals in reference to my business and like, okay, I'm going to really do it and do all the things. So I've been ordering my steps and I've been, officially got my business and everything. So up and, we're almost up and running. So stay tuned. But I'm trying to work on my website and just working on things. I also do graphic design work as well as I also do work in sales. Actually, like my day-to-day job, I handle SMB sales. I work in small and medium businesses, as well as try to run a business myself.
You're the closer. You're a closer. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that vernacular. That's my my background in sales and IT. Very cool. That's very cool. So Coco, we are blazing through, and there's so many things that we could talk about. I think we spent a great time talking about some of your story. I would like to leave it up to you to kind of decide a couple of these sunset conversations that we have. Would you like to do a performance? Do you feel like that vulnerability is okay? Is that something that you'd like to do as far as your spoken word or slam goes?
Okay. I'd rather sing because I don't have a poem ready.
You'd rather sing? Well, we could do a song if you'd like. I like digging. I'm gonna be a little transparent with you. When I am fortunate enough to have someone who is transparent and vulnerable, I seize it. and you are just flush with the vulnerability. And so I really I think there's a lot of, and let me tell you why. It's not just because I think it makes good content. I think there's a lot of value to be had. Because as you were talking about earlier, when you're talking about not being resentful and how you develop that, I believe that's a skill. I think it's something that has to be developed to be self-reflective and be able to be to know how to internalize certain things and interpret the way you feel about things. It also helps to hear other people as a sounding board, where you can compare and contrast of your own personal experiences to someone else's and say, hey, I relate to that in some way. And this is their perspective on it. Maybe I can challenge my perspective, right? So that's a little bit off the beaten path, but let's get back to grounded. So you're starting your business. What is the motivation behind starting a business? Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? And is it the clothes one, or is there another one besides the clothes?
Well, I want to start. I want to have a brand. I feel like I am a brand. I never really fit in anywhere, but I fit in everywhere at the same time. I am that nerd. I am that good girlfriend. I am that hype man. I am that. I feel like I am, I fit kind of everybody who fits nobody. Like I am for, I'm for the weirdos.
That's brutal. That's brutal. I understand.
But I'm for the weirdos. I'm for the people that who felt like they fit nowhere, but then they also at the same time fit everywhere. I make you fit, and I want to be a brand with everybody feels like I fit. Like they say, my stream is the LGBT community center. It's so funny because the top edges told me like, yeah, go to Coco's stream, fave her. She's the LGBT community center. And then I just was like, okay, well, if that's what they calling this in these streets, we're gonna go by it because I love it. I love it because like another thing, like when I was a teenager, as being a young lesbian woman, I will say that the LGBT community center, like real LGBT community center in Baltimore, Maryland, their group chats and their meetings was what made me feel like I belonged. I wasn't so weird. It's very odd to have 4 mothers. It's very odd to be raised in love and in the, you know, and but also from a very rough background that I've had, and just feeling welcomed, but also being able to be genuinely just myself in rooms and present myself and not feel ashamed about what I've been through or who I am, has been a battle. So what the community center gave to me, I want to just give to everybody. And so, and that be a brand that's just for us, but for that us as humans, like that's for everybody.
So and again, that's like opening a whole nother Pandora's box of topics. I need to, number one, hit the favorite on Coco. You said the LGBTQ Resource Center, and that if you could, I'm going to paraphrase what you said. You said, if I could be a resource, I want to embrace it, or something to that effect, of how the center had been a resource to you. As someone who has worked with people within that resource center, or had the time to, we talked about self-reflection earlier, work to sort through what you had been through. Do you remember there being a key moment or something that was significant that was said to you, or it gave you time to, you know, kind of think on something that you feel like you could share, that you can say, hey, I remember when something was positioned this way or rephrased this way to me, that I became reflective? Is there anything? I know it's a pretty sledgehammer question, right? Like, it's not a light one.
I'm gonna say, and this is gonna be a thought that because I gotta think about it, because I've been on this journey for quite some time. Since, due to my background, I was sent to therapy, like a counselor, because of what I went through. Because I went through physical abuse as a child. I can say that without having to go to too much detail. And so they usually recommend you to go through counseling and so forth like that. And so that was actually, although I started writing, the first time I was, my first grade teacher published me in first grade when I was 6, my poetry. My counselor actually learned about my poetry, and she utilized that when I was 10, like in my therapy, my poetry, to be my outlet. And then like to write about it, and then read it back to yourself. So when you're writing, you know, you're based off your emotions. I was angry. I was hurt. I was confused. I didn't understand. I couldn't fathom how someone could choose someone else over their child, how someone could be willing to sacrifice someone who was a part of them. And I was bitter. I was resentful. And I had to read it back. And over time, I've gained understanding. But it was definitely, when I say over time, like I wanted to have a relationship that wasn't just by blood. I wanted to really like understand and know my mother, because I had questions. And how can you be willing to really listen or receive the answer if you're already angry and you're closed-minded? All you're going to hear is what you feel. To have peace, you have to first have understanding. And so I would say, that my writing and counseling definitely was the task, and it continues.
I'll piggyback off of that with real quick. I'm watching time too. I want to be mindful. Oh, Moore's not on right now. Moore's not on. Is Moore on? Can I get a confirmation in the chat? Okay, we're good. We're totally good. I don't feel badly if we're not running over Moore. Moore messaged me. He's got the week off. All right, we're gonna use these 5 minutes. Number one, yes, when you write, and I encourage anyone who's I can only speak from personal experience, but I can say that I started journaling when I was in 7th and 8th grade. And if you have something that you wish you could tell someone, or especially if it's rooted in anger or resentment, some sort of negative feeling, those are powerful ones. Those are ones that can control us, at least can control me. Write those things out. I used to write. I can't speak in a form to tell people what to do, but I can tell you what I did. I used to write as if I were speaking to that person. So I'd write it out. This is a letter to that person. And even if they never see it, reading those things over and being reflective, seeing like, wow, this is how I feel, this is what I'm saying, it gives you the time to audit your thoughts and connect the dots, say, wait, I'm putting a lot of things down that if I were to say this, they could be detrimental to my relationship with this person. And that's not even what I'm intending by this. I just want them to know how I feel.
Right.
And reading those words back and say, this doesn't show what I feel. It just expresses hurt. And so, yeah, I get back to what you're saying with all that. So on that note, come back to you. Coco, any last things you'd like to say? I feel like we could talk for a very long time, but we'll have to save that for another occasion. So anything else that you'd like to plug, talk about before we go today?
Okay, yes. So this Friday, we do the Feel Good Fridays with karaoke. This week is going to be a Whitney tribute because I love Whitney Houston. And I was just like feeling it. Every karaoke, we try to do something different. This one is going to be Whitney tribute, and it's 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'll just come hop in the box. I have 3 great co-hosts because I switch up the co-hosts each time just to make it fun. We try to make it feel like you're at a karaoke bar. And so the reason I have co-hosts is to make you feel comfortable. A lot of my people are new to the app, new streamers or however, and they don't feel quite as comfortable being in the box, but spotlight on them. So we just kind of make you feel like you're with your good girlfriends or, you know, your brother, sister, mother, cousin at the karaoke spot, and you ain't got to go through this alone. So y'all can feel free to be like, hey, I want to do a group song, or hey, I want to do a solo, or however. This what we're here for you. Also, I host auctions. So that's kind of what I'm known for the most, is being a host. And so I'm hosting my next auction December the 17th. I booked before that. Let me not forget, because I'm really bad at telling people when I'm in auctions, because I really don't like doing them, but I always try to support who supports me, and it's just only don't like doing them because of my anxiety. But I am in Smurfy's, Top Batch Smurfy's auction December the 9th for upcoming for like up and coming, you know, streamers on the rise, potential top badges. So all the up and coming potential top badges she has like in her auction is going to be a great event. December the 9th. I'm at 6:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is good because I like early. I go to sleep. We kind of old.
You're crushing. Well, you got a lot of things going on, a lot of sticks in the fire, but you're doing great things. I know you're making an impact in many ways in the community, and that's a lot to wear with that crown that you got up there. So make sure you're hitting the favorite button on Coco. She was our 3rd guest this evening. Thank you so much for being here, Coco. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers. Okay. Absolutely. And she said it didn't feel real. Well, hopefully it was very real. It was very real. My name's Chris. I got it. You look like me fishing for the last Pringle at the bottom of the can. Just like, my name's Chris Casper. It's so great to be with you. This is a show we do every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got to give a special shout out to our 3 guests this evening. A special shout out to our first guest, who was Miss Wow! I've never seen something like that. It's off hours. It's not feature time anymore. Tone Boy, congratulations on reaching level 190. I've never seen that color in my chat before. It caught me totally off guard. So congratulations to Tone Boy, but also a special shout out to Dollface, a special shout out to Pharaoh, and a special shout out to Coco. I'd also like to give all of you a special shout out, specifically you for being here. And before I go, in the spirit of tomorrow, which is Thanksgiving, just want to give a brief moment to say thank you and give thanks to you, the community, people who support me, message to make this, you know, about myself right now. Who check in on Snapchat and Instagram and just want to see how I am. It really does mean the world. Streaming is an incredible world, and I know that sometimes we can get caught up in the financial aspects of it or the monetization aspects of who's giving diamonds or who's getting diamonds, who's at the top of the leaderboard.